All right, today I am at the LA Auto Show, and Genesis has just revealed the refreshed 2026 Genesis GV70. So what I'm going to do in this video is actually literally just a quick walk around. So we're going to do a walk around of the exterior. We're going to talk about some of the changes that are going on there, and then we are going to hop into the interior where the biggest change is happening. My name is Jill Simonello with Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk. Let's take a closer look at the 2026 Genesis GV70 right now. All right, so we are just going to jump right into the exterior walk around of the 2026 Genesis GV70, and because this right here is where you are going to see your biggest changes: the grille, the front fascia, the headlights. You know, you have a little bit of a freshening and a design tweak going on here, making the design a little bit more elegant, a little bit tighter, and Genesis likes to say it's a little bit more athletic. As you come around to the side of the vehicle, you will notice that there's also going to be some changes to the wheel options for 2026. And you know, Genesis always does a really good job with their wheel designs. Coming in close, you can see this little two-stripe here and here, you know, kind of going around the wheels is mimicking their headlight design on the front, and then the taillight design in the back. And the taillights have also been freshened up for the 2026 model year to more closely align with the design of the headlights in the front. The bigger changes, however, are going to be on the inside of the vehicle, so let's go check that out. All right, so the interior is where you're going to see the biggest changes. You're going to have some more material options here, and this is going to probably look a little bit familiar to you if you are familiar with the Genesis GV80 Coupe. If you saw my review on that, this is the same interior that we saw on those vehicles as well. This is a new option, you know, with the blue and then the orange stitching around the wheel. But this right here, this screen that flows from infotainment all the way to the gauge cluster, this is going to be the biggest new thing for the 2026 model year. Now, I don't know if you remember, but previously they had like a little bump up here, which is where your infotainment screen was, and you had the gauge cluster here, and you know, it just wasn't as digital or as refined as this is here. So again, we also saw this on the Genesis GV80 Coupe and the Genesis GV80 regular SUV. Now, in terms of other materials and design options, this right here is probably going to look fairly similar. It's not going to be that different because you do have the dual knob system. So this is your gear selector, and this right here is going to be your touch controller for your system there. But the screen itself, I mean, I got to keep coming back to this because this is just really cool. If you have the map option in it, just kind of flows right into the gauge cluster. And they've done a really good job with the digital display and with how this works and how it operates. Now I'm just going to pop the camera out a little bit so you have a better, cleaner view of what the dash and the materials look like. You do have the ambient lighting, which goes around the side, and it is, you can change the color, but I mean, come on, why would you change away from orange when the orange and the blue work so well together? You also have this new, it's kind of a touch screen display for your climate controls, and instead of you know, being buttons, and it's not going to be on right now because we're at an auto show, but instead of being actual physical buttons, you have these larger touch spaces, as I like to call them, in order to adjust your climate controls. But you do still have knobs and dials for the more frequently touched items, and I really appreciate that from Genesis because, you know, using swipe screens and things like that for things that you just want to crank, it's kind of annoying. So appreciate volume knob, tuning knob, and then your climate controls right here. So yeah, but again, these touch bases are big enough that when you are driving, you can glance down and touch and turn things on. So I will point out this wheel design is new to the vehicle as well, and it is also seen on the Genesis GV80 and GV80 Coupe. So that is the front seat. We'll just do a quick look at the back seat. And again, the materials carry through into this second row, and you have climate controls in the back, you have air vents, you have USB charge ports, and I don't know if you know this or not, but this right here, this design right here, this is carbon fiber. So Genesis has always done a really great job with their designs, and they have really taken this upscale, and they have added more materials, more content, more, a wireless Apple CarPlay system, and they've just really, I don't know, I think they've taken a really high mark and they've just raised it. So this is the gasoline version, but there is also an electrified version of the Genesis GV70 as well, and it gets some similar upgrades. Now, since we are at the auto show and we do have access to the electrified version of the Genesis GV70, I would just figured I'd pop by and show you the difference here. So again, the grille is going to get the biggest change on the exterior, and yeah, it's not really a grille. Let's be clear. There is some texture here, but it doesn't need to have airflow. But you do have this new design on the lower fascia. The biggest change, however, to the grille is going to be this right here, which is not the location of the charge port, but the access to the charge port. You just hit this button here and it pops open. If you want to close it, you hit it again. So it's got like a better electrified motor for that. But the other big thing to note is this may not look familiar. If you're an EV person and don't own a Tesla, this right here is the NACS, the North American Charging Standard port. So this is going to be standard on the electrified GV70 starting in 2026. But here's the thing, they are also going to be including a CCS adapter. Oops, almost forgot and tried to close it. So they are also going to be including a CCS adapter, which is really big news here. So you're going to have access to, I think they said more than like 36,000 charge ports between the Tesla supercharging network and the CCS network. So that is a very, very big deal. All right, we are just going to close this out now that we've had the chance to check out the Genesis GV70 and the electrified GV70. These are 2026 models. They will be available probably around mid-year 2025. Pricing has not been announced yet, so stay tuned for more details. Thanks for taking this first look at the Genesis GV70 with me, and I will see you down the road.